Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about all of the books I hope to read in the month of December. So it's the end of the year. It's here, it's coming. And I have a lot of things I would like to finish before 2025 is over. So I'm filming this on the 22nd of November. So I do still have another week and a little bit of November to wrap things up in. So I guess some of these might get started in November. We'll see how things go, but this is just the plan for the next 5 weeks until the end of the year. Yeah, lots of things I would like to wrap up. I have lots of series I would like to finish because it's always nice to finish the year, wrap the series up, and then move into the next year with a clean slate and to start all the new things. So yeah, lots of things to dive into here. Lots of things I've been planning to read earlier in the year through like October, November, even earlier. So plenty of things to get into, as well as some new releases that have just come out that will wrap up the series as well. So we will just dive on in. So I have the 5th book in the Lady of Darkness series, which is Lady of Starfire by Melissa K. Roerich. 5th and final book. It's a fantasy romance series following main character Scarlet, who is an assassin, and in the first book she has been living at a nobleman's house and has set herself apart, stepped away from the assassin lifestyle following some traumatic events, but the assassin lord wants to bring her back into the fold, and so he gives her a case, a mission, which she cannot refuse because it is relating to the person that murdered her mother 15 years ago. So she is highly motivated to take on that case. Things go from there. The world is much bigger and wider than what we originally see in that first book. Very excited to see how this is all going to conclude. It's very reminiscent of Throne of Glass and ACOTAR and Sarah J. Maas's works, but overall I've had a really good time with the series so far and just need to wrap it all up. It is a chunky one, like all these books seem to be, so that is just one thing I need to manage, but excited to dive into this. One that has very recently just released is Brimstone by Callie Hart, another fantasy romance. I think I've got a few fantasy romances in here. So this is the sequel to Quicksilver, which I read last year. Following a main character is Saris, isn't it? Saris, who is a human, and in the beginning of the first book she gets captured due to some misbehaviour by the queen of the human world that she is in, and is threatened and sort of to be put to death. To avoid this, she ends up going through this pool of Quicksilver that she has been able to awaken into the Fey world, where it's discovered that this is a very rare ability that she has that is able to make her jump between worlds, and there is a moody love interest called Kingfisher that we meet. I'm excited to see where this one goes and how the story progresses from here. Another conclusion that I am excited to get my teeth into is The Last Wish of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson, which is the sequel to The Courting of Bristol Keats that came out last year. This wraps it all up. It's another lovely addition, and we're following main character Bristol Keats, who in the first book enters into the fairy world because she's investigating what has happened to her parents. The official records say that they have both died in events, but she knows that there's potentially something else going on, and whether they could still be alive in the Fey world, and we follow her entering there and romancing one of the Fey kings there, I think he was. So very excited to see where this all goes. Maybe, I guess, slightly less a priority, but actually something short and something that I think could be very easy for me to fit in is Among the Burning Flowers by Samantha Shannon, which is the prequel to The Pride of the Orange Tree. It fits in that Roots of Chaos world, which is Samantha Shannon's, I guess, more epic fantasy. It follows dragons and these different kingdoms, and this one I think is set 15 years prior to the Pride of the Orange Tree. And I think that she says that this can either be a complete starting point if you've never read the series, because I feel like I've forgotten a lot of Pride of the Orange Tree, so that is good, or for people like me that have read both the books in the Roots of Chaos series. So very excited to dive into this and just have, I don't know, something short in amongst these 600-page behemoths, because this is only 200 and something pages, and it's got some pictures in it as well. So yeah, excited to dive into this one. One that I've had on my, I guess, radar for a little while, one that I should have got to back in the summer, haven't done it yet, is the Nightshade God by Hannah Witten, which is the 3rd and final book in the Nightshade Crown series. It's been on my radar to do it. just haven't done it. I did actually get the audiobook the other day, so I think I'm going to start this with the audio, and hopefully that will like propel me. So yeah, this is the third book. In this series we're following the main character Law, who is able to, I guess, awaken the dead and has necromantic powers, which is something that is banned and forbidden in the world. And at the beginning of the book this all gets revealed, but instead of being put to death or taken to prison, the king ends up giving her a bargain because of these threats that are appearing. So villagers are all suddenly dying spontaneously all at the same time, and so he asks her to investigate what's going on there, awaken them and figure out the situation, and so she gets taken into court. He also requests that she investigate his son and see if his son is working with neighbouring kingdoms who are a threat. Got a lot of influences from the gods in this world, so I am intrigued to see where it's all going to go and finish. And then one series that I have been working on through this second half of the year that I would like to wrap up, so I've got some biggish aims for this series in December, is to read books 4 and book 5, which I don't currently own, in the Truth Witch series. So I am now back up to date. I finished Blood Witch, so I've read these ones, or reread those ones, and I am now going to be moving into fresh, new, although a lot of those felt pretty fresh and new because it'd been so long. But yeah, Witch Shadow is book 4, and then Witch Light came out just very recently, and that's book 5, and that will conclude the series. It's set in the Witchlands, and we're following two main characters, Safi and Isolde, who are best of friends, and they have different magical powers. So Safi is a truth witch, which means she's able to tell if someone is telling the truth or lying, which this is a very highly coveted power that's not been seen in many generations, and all of the kingdoms are coming to the end of a 20-year truce, and they find out about Safi and they are pretty much fighting to control her because they know that this is going to be a very vital power to have in the coming negotiation wars. So very excited to see where this all goes and concludes. And then finally here, the final sequel that I have is The War Beyond by Andrea Stewart, which is the sequel to The Gods Below, another one that I read last year. This one has just come out. This is a epic fantasy, sort of dystopian style, and we follow two sisters that end up separated. So in this world, the world is getting reborn and humans are fleeing into these safe havens. These safe havens though are pretty much dying and crumbling. They're struggling to grow food there, and then as these waves of like regrowth happen, the world starts flourishing again. But in this wave, people either just disappear and die, or they transform into these monstrous beings. It's a catch-22. You could either be in this world that's thriving, but you might be a monster, or you might be dead, or you're suffering in the small human enclave. Yeah, very interesting like setup with the world and the world building and the magic, and seeing the different sides of these things. So excited to see where this all continues. So those are I guess the major things that I would like to focus on as we move into December, and everything that I would like to wrap up before the end of the year. Obviously there are plenty of other things that I could get to. There's a much bigger TBR out there on the shelves, but those would be my top priorities. I would definitely like to wrap up because I'd love to get all those series up to date, wrapped up before I start diving into new things in 2026. And yeah, that's all I can really think about for right now is getting that done, and then maybe after that I can think about like other things. Like there are plenty of other things that I could really like to get to. I'm trying not to be too ambitious, and I feel like I've gone through things quite quickly, but trying not to be too ambitious. Hopefully that's realistic for the end of the year. We shall see. Let me know if you have read any of these, your thoughts on any of them, if you've enjoyed them, and what your plans are for the month of December. I hope you have a lovely festive time and a great end of 2025. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!